All right, now we're about to have an exclusive conversation with Kuda Chingono, entrepreneur, farmer, and tourism innovator, on how to turn up oyster mushroom farming into a thriving business. And Kuda Chingono is here to break it all down for us on how oyster mushroom farming works and how you can get started. Whether it's a business or a small-time thing, it's definitely worth pursuing. So let's dive in. All right, let's start simple. We all know that mushrooms is just mushrooms. But what exactly is oyster mushroom? What makes it different from the regular ones that people are familiar with, Mr. Chingono?
Thank you, Keith, for having me. It's really a pleasure being this station.
Welcome.
Thank you. Let me not waste time. There are two main mushrooms that we consume in Zimbabwe. Mm-hmm. One of them is oyster mushroom. That's the one we're talking about today. Mm-hmm. The other one is button mushroom.
Right.
And oyster mushroom is just so nice because it's simple to grow. It doesn't require a lot of equipment or power. Mm-hmm. And it's consumed by everyone in all walks of life. Mm-hmm. Yes.
And probably those are some of the factors that made you choose oyster mushroom farming. But what is special about it compared to other types of mushrooms or even other crops?
As compared to other mushrooms, these ones are consumed, like I said, by everyone. You can have them with your salsa or with your rice. And they are very affordable to the public, as compared to, like, for example, button mushroom. It's a specialized mushroom for soups. Mm-hmm. And obviously, because of the equipment that is used and the inputs that are used, it's a bit on the expensive side for the common folk. Mm-hmm. But as compared to other crops, it is such a lucrative crop to actually venture into, because the returns are very much higher than other horticultural crops that we are used to. Yes.
Now, for someone who is completely new to this, walk us through the process from growing mushrooms to harvesting. It's simple. Is it as simple as planting and watering, or is there more science behind it?
There's a bit of science in every crop that you are supposed to grow, but for oyster mushroom, it's an issue of just people being not familiar with the process. Otherwise, it's a very simple process. What you basically need is a growing room, a dark room. Mm-hmm. You will see that I advise people now to use a two-roomed cabin without the division that is there in the middle. Mm-hmm. Then you frame inside so that you can actually hang some growing bags inside. Okay. So basically what you need inputs that I will name right now. The seed itself is called spawn, S-P-A-W-N, mm-hmm. Oyster mushroom spawn. There are people who import it from South Africa, and then there are people who actually make local spawn, which is actually a very affordable and user-friendly spawn. Mm-hmm. Then the growing medium, in loose terms, is the manure. We use cotton house.
Okay.
At the cotton, generally, they take out the seed and they take out the white stuff that makes the lint, mm-hmm. and then the waste that remains is what we call cotton house.
Okay.
Those are that's the substrate. It's called the substrate or the growing medium.
Okay.
So the substrate or the growing medium is sterilized using simple chemicals that we come across all the time, mm-hmm. Namely even pool chlorine or our regular jig. Mm-hmm. We sterilize them in plastic drums so that we avoid rust. Then
why do you sterilize them?
Oyster mushroom is so delicate. Mm-hmm. It's so delicate because it's a fungus that we actually consume.
Okay.
So the moment you want to grow a fungus in other fungi, it becomes a problem. It won't grow. Mm-hmm. It will actually become poisonous, and it will grow some green molds and black molds.
Okay.
Yes.
So I wanted to understand. You said that you grow mushrooms is it an actual seed? If we are growing fungi, what is the actual seed?
When you look at the spawn, whether local or import, you will see some seeds that are very evident in the pack.
Okay.
Those are not mushroom seeds. They are just there to actually hold the spawn together. It could be rapoko seeds which are dried, but the actual spawn is not seed form like what we
see in other fruits and veggies.
It's like if I want to describe it, it's like wet flour that is mixed with rapoko seeds.
Okay.
Something like that. But the white stuff is the actual seeds for the mushroom.
Okay, so mushrooms do not have seeds; they have spawn. That's the proper term.
Yes.
Okay.
They've got spawn.
So
yes.
if my teacher asks me for a seed of a mushroom, it's a trick question.
It's a tricky question, yes. Because even the wild mushroom that we have in the mountains, you don't really see the seed. You just in the morning you just find out that there's also mushroom, but last night there was nothing. So that's why we're saying it's a fungus.
All right, sorry for backtracking right there, but you can continue with the process now. I think I'm understanding.
That's all right. So we sterilize the growing medium or the substrate or the manure, which is the cotton house, in plastic drums for a minimum of 6 hours. Then we drain excess water. When we drain excess water, obviously we will need to lay the black plastic sheeting so that it doesn't come in contact with bacteria.
Okay.
So we drained excess water, and then there are what we call growing bags. They are our regular plastic bags, the see-through bags that we find in the market. We would also need just the thicker, stronger material. So we then pack the growing medium in the growing bags, alternating the spawn and the growing media.
Okay.
So depending with the size of bag, you can have 3 layers or 4 layers of spawn and the growing medium. Then we tie the growing bags, and then we hang them in the growing room.
So are the layers separated? Is it?
Yes, they are separated because when you put the growing bags in the growing room, it's a dark room which is moist because there's a floor that we put. Maybe basically we just put river sand on the floor, so that we can actually hold moisture.
Okay.
So that spawn now, it will go through a process called colonization or spawn run.
Okay.
Which means it will go up and down to close the gaps that were there
in between the layers.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that process, which is called spawn run or colonization, will take, depending with the season, it will take about between 19 and 25 days.
Okay.
So you see that when you plant your mushroom, the very first day, you actually kind of struggle to see the layers of the spawn in the bag. But in 19 to 25 days, the bag will be completely white. Completely white. That spawn will actually colonize the bag. Such that if it does colonize well, you actually think you have got some lacto that is inside the bag.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So when the bags are fully colonized, by the time you put the bags in the growing room, you actually perforate the bag right round with a very tiny wire, so that the bag can actually breathe. Okay. Exactly. I like your yeah.
I'm listening. I'm gonna start this business. I swear.
Yeah. So when you do that, you see some pins, some small mushrooms wanting to come out.
Okay.
That tells you that it's time for you to slit the bags. You take sterilized blades, or in loose terms, you can buy brand new razor blades. Then you slit the bags.
If the blades are not sterilized, they will contaminate.
Yes, that is the correct term as well. Yes, because when we plant, we require people to actually be smart. You actually bath, and by the way, when we are harvesting, when the mushroom is fruiting after slitting, we don't encourage people to go into the growing room with strong perfume or smoke.
Okay.
Yes, because that mushroom will actually take that smell, and even if you cook it, you actually taste the perfume in the food.
Oh wow.
Or the smoke.
Okay.
Yes. So when you slit the bags, you open little pockets of light so that you can struggle to read the newspaper inside the room. So when that light is being created like that, it will still be dark, but the light will be showing. The mushroom will actually start coming out through those slits, following that light.
Okay.
That's how the mushroom comes out, and then with that process is what we call fruiting.
Okay.
Yes. So when the mushroom is now fruiting, it's now ready to be harvested. You will need to have a nice table that you can actually secure your vinyl fan, which is the cling wrap, so that you can actually harvest your mushroom in dishes, take out the stems, arrange your mushroom nicely in your punnet, then you vinyl fan or you cling wrap, and then you're ready for the market.
Okay.
Yes.
So, in layman's terms, how many days does it take from planting them to going with them to the market?
30 days.
30 days.
30 days from planting to harvesting. And it's very interesting to note that there's no added fertilizer or anything that we put like in the gardens. It's just water from the time you plant to the time you start harvesting. And you harvest for 2.5 months commercially. If you want to keep on harvesting, you can harvest up to 4 months, but commercially, you can harvest up to 2.5 months.
Okay.
And you'll be harvesting basically every other day, and you'll be just watering the mushroom.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
All right, so in terms of costs, how much does it cost for the seed, in quotes, the spawn? Okay,
the spawn is I think let's use the 2-roomed cabin. That will be the good case study. The 2-roomed cabin will be having 240 bags inside, growing bags, and 1 kg of local spawn will plant about an average of 8 bags. Okay. So you need 30 kgs of spawn. And 30 kgs of spawn is about $3 per kg.
No.
So you need $90 for your seed.
No.
Yes.
And make thousands of dollars?
Let's do the math quickly. 240 bags times, you harvest about 9 punnets per bag.
Okay.
So 9 punnets, that's 2,160 punnets.
Okay.
For $1 each. So you make $2,160 in 2.5 months.
And why was I not told about this information earlier?
You see, you have to quit your job and follow me.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. So realistically, all you need is about $100.
No. The seed is about $100, $90. You also need the substrate, the growing medium, remember?
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, it's about $160 a ton, but you use 1/3 of that.
Okay.
So 1/3 of that will be about $53.
Okay.
So 150. Then you also have your chemicals, the hydrated lime and the chlorine. Hydrated lime is about $12 for a 25 kg bag, which will last you more than half a year.
Oh, wow.
Yes. So if you use $53 for your substrate and your $90 for your spawn, and let's allocate about $20 for your chemicals, that's $163. Obviously, the people who are going to help you plant, you're going to give them some food,
labor and whatnot.
Yes. So you basically need about $200 for your inputs besides your 2-roomed cabin. A 2-roomed cabin is about $250. Yeah. So $450 will get you started.
And then from there you are rolling in thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars.
And when you're done with your crop, you fumigate and you restart the process, and you don't need to rebuy that cabin. It's already there. So your profits can get more and more.
So the cabin, we can't do it outdoors because we need to make sure there's no light that goes in at the beginning of the process.
Yes. You see that mushroom thrives in in several conditions. One of them is moisture. That's why when we were at the village, we wake up and we see mushroom. And normally there will be rain. So we want moisture, we want darkness, we want coolness.
Okay.
Yes. So we'll be trying to mimic that environment in the room.
Okay.
So some people want to use thatched rooms, like all sides and your roof.
Okay.
Yes, because we also need coolness. We don't want excess heat and excess cold.
Okay.
So when you use your two-room cabin, you actually also need to insulate against cold and heat by putting dry grass on top of the room.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So, like you said, the mushroom needs to be well sanitized.
Yes.
If we're using our log cabins, if we're using our thatched grass, we will also need to sterilize it as well.
Yes, normally we put a foot bath at the door so that whenever anyone gets into water or to harvest, they also first step, then you get in.
Okay.
I would also hasten to say the sterilization process is in two ways. This one is the one that most people use. Some people use the other method of actually steaming the substrate instead of soaking it in sterilizing chemicals.
Okay.
They put in steel drums and then they heat the drums up. Then they heat the substrate to kill the bacteria. Yeah, so you can choose either way to sterilize your substrate.
But you'll have to monitor the heat. Maybe too much is...
Yes, obviously. When you heat, then when you need to remove excess moisture, you need to make sure that the temperature is cool enough for you to be able to plant.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So yeah, mushrooms seem delicate. Now, would you say the growing process is difficult?
No, it's not difficult. I'm sure you drive. The first day when you were asked by the instructor to lift up your clutch, that was such a nightmare for you because you want the car to move, but when it starts moving, you're scared. But when you do it over and over again, it becomes such a simple process. It's such a simple process. Everything that is not familiar gets you a bit hesitant. Even if you want to do poultry, when you're told of these vaccines and the starter, the grower, you start saying, how can I do this? But when you do it once, twice, thrice, you're good to go.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. And you did give a very good example of driving. There are also some common mistakes that drivers make, blind spots, use of indicators and stuff like that. What are some of the most common mistakes beginners make with the mushroom business?
The most common mistakes beginners make is actually engaging bogus consultants. People say, I can do it, I can help you, without you checking that person's crop in the first place. That's the first thing, because when you want to do mushroom, just make sure whoever wants to train you has his own crop at his own house. Then number two problem is that people underestimate these things to do with hygiene. They want to plant the mushroom when they are dirty. They want to walk into the mushroom room without sanitizing or sterilizing their feet. And then some people want above normal results. They want to over water the mushroom. The bags will absorb, remember we're using cotton, the bags will absorb too much water and they can actually get
drown.
They'll get drenched and then it won't work.
Okay.
Some people also feel like they want to under water. When the bags get dry, then you can't get the mushroom out, and it will be difficult for you to resuscitate the crop.
You'll probably waste it.
Yes. Then another problem is that people, when they're harvesting, they don't maintain the bags well. They want to wait for the mushroom to grow too big, then they want to harvest. Then by the time you pluck out the mushroom stem, you leave a hole in the bag, and then excess moisture is getting in there. Yes.
Okay.
So those are the simple mistakes that people make.
Oh, nice. I am loving the sound of mushrooms. I don't eat mushrooms, but if we're going to make money, I could acquire the taste.
Yes.
Happy Tuesday, sick. Loving the show. Miss Gracie in Mandana. Miss Gracie, I hope you're picking up something, one or two tricks right there. Miss Gracie is actually a farmer. She might want to go into the mushroom business. Well, I want to try it. I want to be rich too. That one coming in from a number that ends in 2470. I hope you are doing well. I have a question about oyster mushroom cultivation. Can an automated system be designed to control the temperature, humidity, CO2, and the light for optimum growth? And is it feasible to implement such a system in Zimbabwe? A nice one right there from a number that ends in 5343. What do you think, Mr. Chingono?
Yes, that could be possible on the watering. If you go to these uptown restaurants, there are these mistifiers that they use. I've seen a few people using those in the growing rooms, and then they automate them, the mystifiers, to time them when to actually mystify the room, so that you avoid doing the watering and avoid sending people who then overwater or underwater. But the temperature, unfortunately, you have to actually create the correct environment by doing the insulation and stuff. The light as well, you also need to do the same.
And then so you have to have a thermometer so that you can always monitor the heat.
Precise.
So that you can adjust however you need to adjust.
You have to have a thermometer to monitor the temperatures, and if temperatures are high, especially when they are high, you can actually control them by the moisture. That's why we're going to put a bedding of river sand. Yes. When the temperatures are too low, there's nothing much you can do. You cannot heat the room because you actually drain the moisture. The only thing that will happen is that the mushroom will come out slower than usual.
Okay.
But it will still come out, and all of it will come out.
Okay.
Yes.
Nice. Very nice. I'm tuned in. This is Felix Mashonga from Bezo Hurungwe. All right. So we've got a lot of people that are calling in and that are sending messages from different places in Zimbabwe. I understand that we need to create this situation for this atmosphere for our mushroom to grow. Are there any places in Zimbabwe that are just well fashioned for mushroom growth?
Not really. Not really. This country is so beautiful. Our climate here allows us to grow oyster mushroom anywhere. Yes.
All right. So mushrooms are sounding real good, real great right now. Like I can make a lot of money. So once the mushrooms are ready, selling becomes the next hurdle. How does one find markets? Is it easy to break into supermarkets and restaurants, or are there any other major barriers before you can start selling?
Thank you for that question. We are not in business until we sell. You can do so well in production, but if you can't sell, you're not in business. I would like to encourage people who start mushroom farming to just start. When I started doing mushroom business, I didn't look for the market before, but I knew that there was a market. So when we started harvesting, the first day we harvested 83 punnets. You harvest 8,300 punnets. Especially the first few days, you'll be harvesting every day, average of 80 to 100 punnets a day. So we harvested 83 punnets and we didn't know where to put them. So I stay in Hatfield. Then I decided to go to where I know there was a mass market. I went to Epworth. And I was trying to sell. I thought they were going to sell like hotcakes, and I was shocked. People were skeptical about this product, And then some will say, "What if it's poisonous?" So what I then need to do, I'm now teaching people how to break into the market. I had to take my little gas stove and asked one of the shops to allow me to use their veranda to demonstrate. I got my green pepper, my onion. Then I did a stir fry of the mushroom, and I was actually tasting myself and then asking people to also taste. Then people got hooked. Now they were calling me, when are you coming again? When are you coming again? So there's direct marketing which you can do in your family groups, your church groups, and your neighborhood and stuff. as long as you don't break the law by selling the mushroom where you're not allowed to
illegally,
then the shops, the big shops, you're allowed to actually approach them, the fruit and veggie section, and show them your product. They want to see your product. They want to weigh it on the scale and make sure that you maintain 200 grams per punnet, and then they'll give you an order. The fundamentals that are required basically are those invoice books, the receipt books and stuff like that. Maybe if you want to grow big, then you might have to go through the whole process of tax clearance and stuff. But there is space for everyone at any level to be able to sell.
Oh, wow.
Mushroom.
So inspirational right there. I'm actually going to go for this. Now, is it possible to do the whole process in an empty garage? That question coming in from one of our listeners right there. Number ends in 1872.
Thank you for that. Yes, you can. An empty garage or even your cottage at home, as long as you have got at least two sides which can actually bring in light and moisture. I remember setting up someone's cottage for a mushroom project. We'll just open the windows and then insulate them with dry grass so that we can create our darkness. Yeah, and do the same process of putting the river sand and framing inside. As long as you have got at least two sides that can actually bring in moisture, because you don't want to use a garage with no window on the sides, so that whenever the air gets in, it also gets out on another side.
Okay.
So yes, you can do that.
All right. You just need to control the atmosphere.
Exactly.
All right. Nice. So you logged on, everybody. Anzi, could you give me your number? I would like to learn.
Okay. You can WhatsApp me on 0773 344 760. 773 344 760. Thank you so much for that one, guys. I am learning. I have actually saved the number as well. We're doing an interview here with Kuda Chingono, and we're talking about oyster mushroom farming. It sounded like a whole lot of money coming out of that one right there. Now, for someone who is listening right now and thinking about mushroom farming, what would you say to them, and what's the best advice you wish someone had told you when you started? Habits of successful people, they start before they are ready. I think we as Zimbabweans, we are too calculating, we are too consulting. Once you think that you can do something, let's just do it. I just want you to start small. You can start from a small room, a one-room cabin, or a small room in your cottage, or you construct your little grass room outside. You start from anywhere. You start small, and then you grow. And when you start small and you grow, I started with one room, but I ended up with 15 rooms in Harare and another 15 rooms in Murewa. So you can grow from strength to strength, but just start from wherever you can. Right. If it means you need $900 to start with a big room, why can't you start with a small room for $300? And then you make your money, because you have realized that you can spend $500 and you can actually make $2,000. So already you have got 4 times that as your profit.
Oh wow, very inspirational. I need you to just repeat that statement you said in the beginning, the advice you'd give to yourself.
Habits of successful people, they start before they feel ready.
Oh yo, packed.
Yes.
Packed with knowledge right there.
Yes.
We are here vibing on right here, the after drive, and we are farming gold, the oyster mushroom business, and I'm talking to none other than Kuda Chingono. Yep, an exclusive conversation with the man right there, entrepreneur, farmer, and tourism innovator. And I just learned how to start my thriving farming business in oyster mushrooms. Why are they called oysters? Are they round?
They are in the shape of an oyster.
Okay.
Yeah, they're in the shape of an oyster. So that's how the name came out.
Nice.
Yes.
Nice. Hi, Empress Lucy. Nice to see your message right there. And you're asking what inspired him to venture into mushroom farming. We did talk about the challenges right there, but what was your inspiration to get into mushroom farming?
Okay. I'm in finance. I'm actually in finance by training. And I I was inspired by a cob of maize. One seed of maize gives you a cob of maize. And I realized that there's multiplication that happens in farming. So I decided to do roadrunner chickens, and I knew that one hen will give you average of 15 babies, maybe 4 times a year. That is 60 chicks in a year. But I wanted something faster. Then I ventured into mushroom to say, okay, if I invest this and I can actually start harvesting in 30 days and harvest for 2.5 months, then why not? Then why not multiply the rooms and make much more from those rooms? So the reason why, the only reason why I got really inspired to do mushrooms was multiplication. Yes.
From a numbers side,
yes.
From an accounting side. Thank you so much. This has been insightful, Kuda Kwashe. You did give us your number where we can find you if we want to learn more and even get started in mushroom farming. 0773 344 760. This segment is your guide to turning small-scale farming into a profitable venture. Thank you so much for coming through, Mr. Chingono. And I think I'm going to join the business pretty soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
All right, guys, we'll give you that number again, 0773 344 760. Right there, we were just talking to the man himself. I think I'm going to call you the Mushroom King. Kuda Chingono, an oyster mushroom farming right here on Power FM Zimbabwe. Do check your time with mine. It's 12 minutes before 8 p.m. We're going to take a little short musical break. But now we got to say goodbye to Mr. Chingono. And if you want to catch him, get in touch on our Power FM WhatsApp channel.